Welcome back, everybody, to the SmashFactor 2019 Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines, brought to you by AmpCaddy. Go to ampcaddy.com, type in the promo code SMASH for $20 off your next AmpCaddy. We use it on the course for at least 2 rounds. You guys go out, get yours, go to ampcaddy.com, type in the promo code SMASH. I am your host for today. My name is Michael Ruvy. You can catch me on Twitter at Michael Ruvy. And I'm here with my other 2 hosts, Bucks and Gup, and you can catch them on Twitter at BPSnow11 and at IamTheGup. You can find all of our content with the pods and all of our additional content at gupscorner.com, or follow us on Twitter at gupscorner, or on Instagram at gupscorner on Instagram, or on Facebook at facebook.com/gupscorner. Bucks, how are you doing today, bud?
Doing awesome, man. Excited for another good week. This is, first, Tiger's back, which is awesome, but this is one of my favorite events of the year, 2 of my favorite courses on tour. So yeah, I'm pumped. How about you?
Gup, what's up, bud? How are you doing today?
Doing good. Excited to dive into Tiger Week. I was there last year with you, and that was his return last year, other than the Hero Challenge or Hero World. So it was interesting to see the course, and then really didn't follow him too much because it was too crowded, and there was so much talent there that you just kind of went the other way. But
yeah.
Looking forward to watching it on TV kind of the year after being there, and seeing kind of, I don't know, it just seems different once you've been there at least once. Kind of normal tournament this week with 3 rounds on the same course. We do get 1 on the north, but it's not as terrible as it has been. And then next week we'll get back to regular quote unquote golf.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, this is my favorite tournament of the year just because I go to it every year. This will be my 3rd year in a row going to it. It's an amazing course to see in person. It's great on TV as well, obviously. And like you said, this field is stacked. I'll go to watch Tiger for like a couple holes. I'll go ahead of him. But the field is so great that you can go see everybody up 10 feet from everybody. That I really, really love this course and this tournament. So last year we had such a good time that we actually made the promo video for Farmers Insurance Open on all their social media. So I think we were the promo video, so it was kind of awesome. But yeah, I'm excited to be back there again this year. Let's give a quick introduction to our affiliates real quick. Go to fansharesports.com, get the pro advantage at fansharesports.com. Type in the promo code GUP, G-U-P, and get 20% off your next subscription at fansharesports.com. The next one is fantasynational.com. Use the tools we use. Go to fantasynational.com/GUP and sign up for, you can do a month, you could do a week. It's great. The tools are great. It gives you all the strokes gained, anything you want on there. It's awesome. Both those affiliates are great, so please go check those out. As well as rate and review us on iTunes and subscribe on YouTube, and give us a thumbs up, if you would, please, on YouTube for this episode. If we get we will be giving out a $250 plus prize package, which I'm getting an item this week for Gup's Corner to give out to 1 lucky reviewer on iTunes. So go review us on iTunes and you'll be entered into that. You don't have to do anything. Don't have to pay anything. You're entered into it. What's up today on the podcast is that we're going to review the Desert Classic at that funky course and that funky cut and whatever. And then we're going to discuss the Farmers Insurance Open and the return of Tiger Woods in 2019. But first, let's do what we always do every week, and let's get to this week's Good, Bad, and Ugly from the Desert Classic. Bucks, I'm going to start with you this week.
Yes, overall, I had a good week. I would say my good was that I broke even. I didn't have any 6 of 6. I, along with the majority of the community, was very overweight on Neiman, who ended up missing the cut, so that obviously hurt. I also had a ton of ROM, so him not finishing top 5 hurt, but I had a lot of really, really solid picks. I think my top lineup was 5 out of 6. I didn't have anybody in the top 5, and I still cashed. So I cashed 2 of my 3 lineups solid. I would say the bad overall was, like I said, Neiman. And then the ugly, there's not too much ugly last week. Like overall, it was just a solid week. I'll use my ugly segment to say that Adam Long is one clutch SOB. That was one of the coolest finishes that I've seen in a long time, because you have like the underdog of underdogs, and he hit shot after shot after shot. 13-footer dead in the heart last hole, 72nd hole to beat Phil, to beat Hadwin. And it was pretty awesome. So it was a good week overall for me.
Cup, how about you, Big Dog?
Yeah, for me, good was kind of the bread and butter betting, matchups and three balls. I'll have my full recap out tonight, but I hit my first two stars of the year, and both of them hit. Three balls did decent, I believe, overall. Overall positive there. Didn't have the winner. Cantley was kind of there. I did throw some on a couple guys late Saturday night that had good value. But Rahm was 20-1 going into Sunday, so I thought he could make a run. Didn't happen. Sung Jae kind of got a little bit of buzz around the industry, and I had bet him as well. Still didn't happen. Obviously, I don't think anybody had Adam Long, but really liked Hadwin last week. Wish I would have went stronger on that gut feeling, especially in DK. He drew what everybody deemed as the terrible draw, and still performed good. So, my bad was probably main slate. I almost switched off Neiman Wednesday night after he just turned into complete chalk. And had I done that, I obviously would have done really well. He killed majority of my line. I didn't have many lines this week, but he hurt. And then just having the high cut number on Saturday, and I think the industry wide it was 3% or so made 6 of 6, but I had several that were right there in that 6, 7, 8 mark that didn't make the cut. So a difficult week overall. Showdowns did well. My ugly is probably Cantley's putting. Once again, he just horrendous. If he would have putted this week, he probably would have won going away or been right there on Sunday. I had a great Sunday showdown lineup that was in first all day until Cantley got to 18 and 3-putted for a bogey. So that was kind of my ugly moment of the week, that he dropped me down to fourth and cost me the first place in showdown. But that happens. It comes, and, get on to the next week.
Yeah, my good was I was overweight on Hadwin on DraftKings. I also went with him in the one and done. The bad was probably my Rubies this week. I had Saunders and Wagner in there, and they were sitting in perfect position going into Saturday. And Saunders blew up with like a +5, and Wagner missed it by one shot. So that wasn't a great one there. So those were kind of upsetting to me, those two. And the ugly, I didn't think anything was really too ugly. I thought it was a cool course, cool tournament. I actually thought that the NBC Gold coverage was a little bit better this week, and maybe that goes back into a little bit of a good, because it did show 2 courses at least. And last year it only showed 1 course. So the coverage was a little bit better. Still wasn't great. No shot track on the other 2 courses, really. That's kind of my ugly. It's just annoying. But let's get into the draft, or let's get into the course preview week this week real fast. Bucks, why don't you take us away on the course preview at Torrey Pines this week?
Yeah, man. Obviously playing Torrey Pines. They have a couple courses there, muni courses in La Jolla, California. They're playing the north and the south. The fairways in the rough are Kikuyu grass overseeded with rye, Bermuda grass, tees and approach areas, and then POA greens on the south, and then bent with a little bit of POA mixed on the north. Green sizes, the south course, 4,500 square feet. So that's the beast of a course. But the smaller greens, smaller than tour average, just a little bit bigger than Pebble, which we'll see later in the year. North course, 6,000 square feet on average, obviously much larger than the south. That's about tour average, so nothing crazy. Fairway widths are 25 yards on average. The north course is a little bit wider, but again, it's supposed to be. I'll get to that in a second. The cut line here, the average cut line's even. Average winning score is 9 under, and that's a huge reason I love this event. While I love the fireworks at events like the Desert Classic, I really love watching U.S. Open golf, British Open golf, events that par is a really good score. I find it interesting seeing the way players get around a golf course and manage a golf course and kind of develop a game plan rather than just beat the ball as far as you possibly can, find it, hit a green, whatever. I'll start with the South course because that's kind of the strategic course. It's long, man. It's 60 or 7,700 yards. Just super long. Fairways are tight. It was originally designed in like 1957, redesigned in 2001 by Reese Jones. And his whole mantra and his whole direction when he had the redesign was to get it U.S. Open ready. And so in 2001, he went about and did it. They narrowed the fairways, redid all the bunker complexes. When you look at the fairway bunker complexes, almost every single fairway bunker is like right in between like the 285 to 320 mark, which is just right in that go zone for tour players. So it's super hard off the tee. Rough is incredibly thick. Like I said, the greens are small and it's a long, long golf course. So tiny little targets coming in from 175 to 200 yards. And they shifted a lot of the green complexes closer to the hazards, closer to a lot of the cliff lines that you'll see. Again, main point, make it difficult. They did that. Obviously had 2008 U.S. Open here with the whole Tiger Rocco showdown. So basically every single year I look forward to this because you get to see a U.S. Open venue in the standard course rotation for the year. 2021, they're hosting another U.S. Open here. They're going through a lot of changes up until then. Real quick on the North course, it is the easier of the courses. Tom Weiskopf was challenged with redesigning the golf course and basically was told, listen, we have the South course. It's a monster. We need a course that people come out here and play. And so that's what he created. Fairways are a little wider. Greens are obviously larger. It's more manageable, more playable. The rough's typically not as thick. And again, you can see that from the scores. The guys here will play that course one day a week here. Scoring averages are typically like 4 strokes easier on the North course than the South course. So overall, really difficult setup because you're playing three days at the South. But it's always fun to watch because you have to have a strategy. You have to have a game plan starting from the green going backwards. And it's interesting to see how these guys manage that.
Good stuff. Yeah, and this is a course that has got weather in the past. Do we have any weather looking at right now? I don't think so, but I just wanted to make sure with you.
No. Right now it looks awesome. So Torrey Pines has a station on the property, which is awesome. So you can watch it live pretty much all day. But right now it's like low 70s, overcast, very little wind for Torrey. I mean, for their standards, I mean, there'll still be some breeze coming off the coast there, but overall it's under like 10 miles an hour. So it looks absolutely perfect.
Yeah, good stuff. I do want to give a shout out to our last week's Listener League winner, Michael Steven at Nutski Mikkel. He took down the Listener League and GC Cup Woods division. So good week for him. That's the second time someone's done that, I think, in 3 weeks, by the way.
That's true.
Listener League and the Woods. So
awesome, man.
Good on them. Let's get into this week's locks, flocks, and flops. Let's start out with what key stats we're looking at this week. Actually, let's go with because this is a weird week again with the course strategy. Gup, why don't you tell us how you're looking at it with only 1 day being at the North course and 3 days being at the South course, which is different than any course on tour.
Yeah, I really won't affect anything for me this week. There's a few people's books that allow first round leader overall. I mean, obviously, if you have that and they're putting everybody in one total, I'd probably target the North. Bovada, I think last week actually did a first round leader for each course.
Yep.
So that's not a big deal. But as far as strategy and going off, just what I looked at against Monday night, there's no big wind advantage or weather or, play guys south, north, south. Right now, it'll be a typical week for me unless something dramatically changed by Wednesday.
Awesome. Bucks, I assume that you're on the same page as that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some correlation I saw on Twitter where like out of the last like 11 years, 7 started on the North Course or something like that, but it has zero effect on how I'm approaching this week or my player pool. So
yeah, I hope that people do that. Then I would go to the South Course first, then, like I did with Halfman last week, and it worked out okay.
Yeah.
No, I think I agree that it doesn't affect it much. But what key stats are you looking at for this week, Up?
Yeah, so I'm looking at, especially, pretty much a staple. I always bring in approach and ball striking. Approach sticks out here a lot. Bogey avoidance, green and red gained. Scrambling is going to be important. So we kind of, get back into somewhat normal golf course where you could even see over par make the cut. But nothing like last week, or I don't see a lot of high numbers going to be up there making the cut, especially with the set, depending on the South Course. I do right now think, especially with the rain they've had and how soft it is, it could be a little higher scoring or lower scoring in golf terms than normal. When that fairway is hard and all that kind of stuff, it makes that course, the south side especially, play difficult. So you could see a little bit easier than normal, but nothing crazy like 25 under win this. With that, you have my secret sauce is in there as well. But the biggest ones I'm going to be looking at is approach, and then bogey avoidance will be real key to me. And then I'm really factoring in the rolling stats and recent form as we start getting a little bit more relative data in the last, this season, more than just all fall swing and late fall events.
Bucks, how about you?
Yeah, I have a lot of the same thoughts. I think for me, and I'm glad Gut mentioned it with how much rain that they've gotten over the last couple weeks, it is going to play softer, which for me, that means, one, it's going to play longer. But two, the guys that crush the ball and actually will find the fairway will have a distinct advantage having a mid-iron into some of these greens where you got guys that hit it 290 off the tee. They're going to have 200 plus yards into some of these par fours, and it's going to be really difficult scoring conditions. Like I mentioned earlier, I view this almost as like a mini US Open setup. Obviously, a lot of that is weather dependent year after year, as we've seen here. But with the weather being the way it is, I think that seeing a winning score of 10, 11 under, 12 under is where we probably will see it, which is major-esque kind of. So for me, bogey avoidance is going to be big. Getting past those kind of stats, I'll always look at like DraftKings points and that kind of thing. But bogey avoidance is going to be a bigger weight for me this week. Total driving. A big factor for me is going to be total driving, and then obviously strokes gained ball striking, which is a mix of total driving and greens and reg. Proximity numbers from like 150 to 200 is really big for me this week. I think the majority of the shots that the guys will have this week will be in that range. And then, as Gut mentioned, scrambling is really big for me. So obviously, I want guys that have a pretty high clip of hitting the fairway. But these greens are small. You're coming in with long irons and mid irons. You're going to see greens getting missed at a higher percentage than most courses. And so you need to not only scramble well, but make your 5 to 10 footers, because they're going to have a lot of them this week.
Yeah, I think that avoiding the rough at all costs is going to be their main goal. I think you guys both covered it, but the rough is thick there. From the last 2 times I've been there, I remember one player last year was Martin Laird, and he's used to that course. He's played it a lot, and he struggled out of the rough on the first day we were there. And he chunked one just because it was just thick rough. And so it's really rough, the rough, which is redundant. I apologize, but yeah, it's tough. So avoid the rough as much as possible. So good drives, but I think that they have to get distance out there if it's soft, like you said, Bucks. So that makes sense. So not a lot to add on my part there. Let's get straight into this week's lock of the week. Gup, why don't you lead us off again? What's your lock of the week this week above 10,000 in DraftKings?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a guy I really hadn't been on yet this year. Of course, he just returned last week. Got third at the Hero. He's top 8 this tournament the last 2 years. He's number 1 in my stats, number 1 in my rolling stats, and that's the number 1 ranked golfer in the world, Justin Rose. I'll be interested to kind of see where projections roll in. I know just from my brief research tonight, I will probably be looking to build around the middle a lot and kind of tighten up there and then let the ownership guide up top. If Rose is going to come in low because you have Tiger and Rory and Rahm, I'll take Rose, in that spot. If Rose becomes chalk, I mean, I can pivot to either of those 4. Really, Day's probably the one that I really don't have any liking to right now, even though he won here last year. But for now, it'll be Rose will be my lock.
Bucks, how about you, bud?
Yeah, for me, I would typically go Rory here. I really like the way his game suits this course. He's a really, really good driver of a golf ball. He has a solid short game, that kind of thing. But after building my initial lineups, from a pricing perspective, and they're only $600 apart, but I wanted to have I didn't want to go too low this week. And so my lock this week, my personal lock this week is going to be Tiger. He came here 23rd last year after kind of his first real return, and nobody knew really what he was going to be like. And he obviously loves this course. He's won majors here. He's played junior golf here. So I'm going to go Tiger. I'm interested to see what FanShare is going to do this week with Tiger and see how it looks, because you have so many guys. You have Day, Finau, Rose, Rory, Rahm. All of those guys are really solid players. They command ownership, right? But then you have Tiger, who's like the name. I think in like the $5, Tiger's going to be super, super heavy. But when you get to like the 333, which is what I typically play in, I think that Tiger name is not going to be avoided, but it's not going to carry as much weight as the smaller events where people just want to see him play and have him on their squad. So I'm hoping with Rory, Rose, Day, Finau, Rahm, all there, that Tiger isn't just like crazy high owned. And so I'm going to go Tiger this week. He hasn't played yet this year. That scares me, yes, but he loves this course, and he wants to win. So, but again, I'm going to check out FanShare later in the week and see what ownership looks like.
Yeah, like you said, Tiger's won here 8 times, I think, including the major here one time. But my lock is going to be Rahm. He won it back here 2 years ago, playing good, coming in. He's probably the last month and a half, he's the best player in the world. I'm not sure if he's just been playing really well every tournament he's been in. So yeah. I know he's high priced up there at the most at 11.4, but I will go with Rahm. This is where I grew to love Rahm. So that's probably also a problem there. So, but Rahm will be my pick there. All righty. The next one is going to be our flock. So our core. Gup, who are you thinking about for your core this week, right now, initially?
Yeah, so the 2 guys that kind of quickly pop out to me is I'll go back to Woodland again. I think he fits this course well. He's had a T20, T12, T18, T45, T10 in the last 5 years, so made the cut all 5 years. Not terribly priced at $9,000. Great in my model all the way around. Didn't play the Sony real well But before that, he got a second at the TOC and 8th at the Hero. So not too worried about him. And I think the softer course potentially could help him out the gate. Definitely has a good I think his game's improved on the approach side and the ball striking to go with his driver, that he kind of fits everything. And then right underneath him in my model is Griot. I'll go back to him. I was kind of on both of them at the same time at the Sony. Looks great on the stat model. He's played it 3 times, twice made the cut. Last year got a T12, played the Sony. So, got some rust off, if you will. There are still guys that, like you said, Tiger hadn't played this year. So that's still a little bit of a factor if you're looking at statistics out there and how recent you want to go. My third guy, there's a few in there. Charles Howell, I like, but I automatically know he'll be uber chalk this week. One of the best course histories out there. Last 4 years, his worst finish as a T16. He's coming in good form as well. T14, T8, and then last week got a T34. So, there's nothing to hate about him. I just anticipate, his buzz, if you will, being super high. And people that follow my ownership projections, through 3 weeks have been pretty accurate, as much as you can be. But, if you want to dive into, I look at those and I look at a lot of the features on FanShare that enables me to, tweak things that I like to see or don't, which the buzzword that they have on there and their tags and sort of things that make up those potential ownerships. And so I assume we'll see a lot of Hal. So I'll probably pivot, but he is number 2 in my model. And so I may pivot off him, but a guy I like that could be a little less and definitely cheaper is Horschel. I like where his games come overall. Great ball striker. The 7,700, I don't mind playing him at all, and potentially we'll have a bet on him currently at 66-1. So those are kind of the 3, and I'll keep an eye on Hal.
Yeah, good stuff there, Gup. How about you, Bucks?
Yeah, for me, this was coming up with my core this week was easy. Figuring out the other pieces was difficult, or is difficult. But my core or my flocks are going to be Patrick Cantlay, just playing really well right now, and from a rolling report perspective, might be the most consistent golfer in the field overall. So I love Cantlay this week. Set $9,200 again, sandwiched there with like Woodland, Spieth, Reed. I mean, I still think he'll be popular, but again, I think in a star-studded field like this, we'll see suppressed ownership across the board. Next is going to be Sunjay M. This is another popular name. The dude's been playing really, really, really well. Recently pops in my stat model. I just like the way where his game is at right now overall. And then the last guy, and this is a guy that I've been on for a couple weeks now, and I used to trash this guy. And this used to be one of my auto no cut plays. But this dude has been really, really consistent over the last few months, 4 or 5 months. And that's Harold Varner at $7,200. I personally think that he should be higher priced. He's been really consistent, top 15 in overall strokes gained, top 15 in scrambling, proximity numbers from 150 to 175, bogey avoidance for Varner. For bogey avoidance, that's been the biggest change for him over the last year. And then when you look at like the rolling report, really, really solid numbers for Varner. So it's not like this is just a flash in the pan type of thing. He's just been playing consistently well over the last 6 months or so. The only thing that kind of concerns me is course history. But again, he's a much different player now. So Cantlay, M, Varner, those are my 3.
Yeah, I think I'm in love with M as well. He's like my new guy too. But I've really been on him every tournament this year. He's been awesome. He's been so good. He's just so consistent. He was consistently good last year throughout the web.com. He started off by winning the first tournament and kept the lead the whole year. So he was great all year. I don't see him getting tired, at least early. So, yep, M at 7,800 is a lock for me as well. I'm really, really leaning towards Cameron Champ. I know he might be able to spray it a little bit with the driver, but if he can get that driver on, he has a significant advantage here. And if he can get a hot putter again, I think he has a chance. So Cameron Champ at 8,500. If he's not somewhat chalky, I think I would be interested in some Cameron Champ at 8,500. And the last one is pretty obvious, even though I do really like him a lot, and I think he's a little mispriced here, but probably not for his level right now. But JJ Spawn at 7,300. Hey, it worked last week for me at 8,500. JJ Spawn was a good play last week. And then this week at 7,300, he's a San Diego State alum. He's a local kid to the area. He's from about an hour north from San Dimas. He gets a lot of his friends at this tournament, so he plays really well here. He's played it twice. He has a 23rd and a 9th. And when he got 9th, he double bogeyed the last hole. That was with Rahm. He was paired with Rahm on the final day, double bogeyed the last hole to finish in the top 10 so he can get into Phoenix the next week where he finished top 10 again. But JJ Spawn definitely at 7,300, and that's not just a homer bet like it usually is. Kind of is. All right, how about the next one? Gup, why don't you give me your 2 flops of the week?
Yeah, I kind of already mentioned the first one. Day, obviously, I mean, his course history is great at times. Obviously, 3 of the last 5 years.
Bust, right?
Right. Yeah. He missed the cut twice, but then won twice, in between those. So, recent form, 16th at the Hero, which is almost last, and then 13th at the TOC, which is mid-pack. He just doesn't really pop in my model at all. I mean, he's in the mid-50 range on both rolling stats and full stats. His approach and ball striking is mid-50s as well. My secret sauce this week, he's 123rd, which doesn't mean end all be all, but it's really a price fade for me. There's so many options up there, and I could even start under 10,000 this week that I'll probably pass on him all the way around. The next one's it's tight between Schauffele. Of course, I love him, but when I fade him, it doesn't go well. And then, but for me, the interesting one is Ricky. He's high in my model on everything except for he seems to absolutely hate this course.
That's an understatement.
Well, in the last 4 years, right? He played well before here.
Well, he has cut, 61st cut.
Yeah,
right. And before that, it was like 9th and 4th.
Yeah, I don't really care past 5 years. I mean, I don't know. There's been a remodel. I mean, there's enough there that I don't know if it's in his head now. I played him last year. I remember because I was there and was pissed when he missed the cut. But and again, if he had the mean average course history of the entire field, he would probably be number 2 or 3 in my entire model. So there's a weight there going, does he show up? Hasn't played since the Hero. And the stat model, he just blows it out of the water. So, I mean, it's all there to play him. I go back to some of the guys we know in the industry, and sometimes a course just gets in your head and you don't like it. He has to be here because of the sponsorship. So, that there's no telling, would he just take it off if he just continued to suck at it because he kind of is a big promo for them. So I'll pass on him this week just for those reasons.
Bucks, how about you?
Yeah, for me, one's going to be Day. He's either going to win or miss the cut, and I don't think he's winning right now. I don't think he's got the game off the tee right now to really give himself enough opportunities to win. I think he's a really good putter, but he is going to have to make so many 5 to 10 footers for par this week that I think mentally that's just going to be a grind for him. The next guy that I'm going to go with is going to be Brent Snedeker, $8,400. I am not a big Snedeker fan right now. Obviously, he has some course history on his side, but when I look at his stats right now, when I look at like the rolling report, when I look at his recent results and things like that, there's just a lot that are working against me. I just don't think when I look at his game right now, even if he's been playing decent, I can't vision him winning on a soft South course. And it's hard to say that because he dominated a few years back in just the most ridiculous conditions ever. But I just don't see it happening. I think he'll command some ownership, and I'm going to fade him.
Yeah, I'm on the Ricky fade as well. Ricky, I think you touched on it a little bit, Gup. His sponsorship obligations at this tournament are so heavy. When he got with Farmers is when he started really kind of dipping on this tournament. Gup, me and you talked to the CEO of Farmers Insurance last year on I think it was the 18th tee, and he plays the Pro-Am with Ricky on Wednesday, and it's a lot for Ricky because he's doing so much, and I think it gets to him, and I think that's why he struggles here and then plays well at Phoenix every year. It's just the weight is off his shoulders once he gets to Phoenix, and I think he does a lot better. So I'm not on Ricky as well, and I'm off Xander as well. He has a terrible course history here. He's being paired with Tiger and Finau the first day, and he's not afraid of the spotlight. Obviously, the dude wins a lot, but he seems to do well in a lot of smaller fields where he can maybe blitz it a little bit. That being said, I think he's done well in the U.S. Open before and a British Open. So, but I'm not on Xander this week, and that goes the opposite of my JJ Spawn being a San Diego State alum. But Xander doesn't like this course very much, from what I can see. So I will be off Xander. Gup, how about your sleeper pick of the week?
Yeah, I think this week a little bit more in play down low. Really, I didn't play much of anybody last week. The guy that, the highest rated in my model that kind of pops for me is Kevin Strillman, 6,800, 200-1 odds. Recent form isn't great. He did finish, 234 last week, which I like because the other two tournaments that are kind of coming into that, we're back in the fall swing. Has made the cut 3 straight times here, including a third in 2016. Really pops well on my model. Scrambling skills are a little lack thereof, but the other things, he's great. He's 11, 14, 14 second. So for 6,800, I definitely think, I'll have some of him and he'll be my sleeper of the week.
Box, how about you?
Yeah, I spent some time down here looking at all these plays because there are a lot of really solid plays down here that I've been on over for the swing season, stuff like that. You got like Bronson, Sam Ryder. I'm always on Sabatini, Hovland. There's a lot of guys down here. But the one guy, and he's high sixes, but I'm going to say him anyways because he deserves it, is going to be Bazzelli at $6,900. After the debacle 2 weeks ago, I personally thought, and we were watching this, right? Like we were following it, tracking it. Tambo had an each way on Bazzelli the week he needed a top 5 last medical exemption type deal, and he just tanked hard final round. And we all saw it coming. Then you cue last week, and I'm like, I can't play Bazzelli. I know he's got the game, but who knows what mental state he's in after that just debacle of a finish. But he balled out, man. He just came to play again. And he has been striking the ball so well. He blocked all of that garbage out of his mind and just played. And so I'm going to play Bazzelli again because the dude's just a gamer, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a guy. I like a couple guys. I like Saunders again this week. I seem to be a week early on some guys, so probably go back to him. But I'm going to play one of Gup's favorite guys, I believe. I'm going to go to Taylor Gooch. He finished 4th at the Desert Classic. And over my rolling stat models, he's really good from 12 rounds and in. I know probably a lot of it has to do with the Desert Classic. He did have 2 missed cuts before that. He made the cut here last year, but I can dig on some Taylor Gooch this week if he found something at the Desert Classic that helps him out this week. But I really like him for his price this week. So any other ones you guys wanted to mention real quick? We'll get into some breakdowns.
Yeah.
The only guy that will be on my radar, especially I think he'll be really chalky in the betting world, will be Matsu. Besides recent form, he's kind of like Ricky, but the other way. So if his recent form was the mean average to the field for me, he's already 10th in my model. So he would be up there top 3 or 4. So stat wise and tournament history wise, he's missed 2 cuts, but in the last 2 years, he's done really well, and gained a ton of strokes on the ones that when he made the cut. So and at 8,000, I don't even remember the last time Matsu was 8,000. So he could, be one of those buzz-worthy type guys that I'll definitely be keeping an eye on FanShare and seeing how many tags and stuff he gets in. That's one guy that kind of caught my eye out that couldn't really fit in any of those buckets.
Yeah, for sure. I think we all want to keep an eye on him. He's kind of leaning in my way towards the Neiman last week, right? Where everybody's like, that guy's way underpriced for that. And Matsu is, as far as his talent goes. So we'll definitely keep an eye on FanShare on that one. Let's get into some real quick picks here. Pick between one of the 2 guys I throw at you. Let's go with Justin Rose or Tiger Woods. Gup?
Rose.
Bucks, I assume Woods? All right, he's going Tiger, and I will go Tiger as well, although I like both. Just because I want to see Tiger do well.
El Tigre.
This is kind of an interesting one because these were 2 of my fades. How about Schauffele or Fowler for you, Gup?
Well, yeah, they were both right there on the fade deal. I would probably go Fowler because one thing I was going to say is if we get to Wednesday night and he's sub 6-7%. I don't know the number yet that I want to jump, but just because he pops everywhere except for tournament history, I certainly, if I'm doing 10 lineups, wouldn't mind throwing 1 out of 10 in and being overweight on the field. So I'd say Fowler if that scenario came true.
Bucks?
Yeah, I'm going the exact same thing. So I think there's merit in course history, but people change, players change. Who knows what his mindset is coming into this week? All I know is that his last 10 events, he's been balling out. His stats pop off the charts. So I think he bucks the trend this week, and you see a Fowler top 10 sub, like Gup said, 7% ownership, something like that. I mean, everybody's going to see his course history and go, good God, and just ignore him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'd probably take Fowler as well if I had to pick between those 2. How about Keegan Bradley or Abraham Answer? Gup?
Bradley for me. He's kind of in that middle point right now where he's potentially a player pool guy for me. It just doesn't fit any of the, flocks or locks. But T4 and a 5th the last 2 years out here, playing really good, recent form coming in. Stat model, he's, right there, average to his price. So, I'll take Keegan out of those 2. And I like Answer, for obvious reasons. But
yeah, I know you do. Yep.
He's just below Bradley, but I just like Keegan a little bit better.
Bucks?
I like Answer, 1,000% Answer. I think he has one of the most consistent games on tour right now. 3 straight top 30 finishes on tour. Came T20 here last year. Just love the dude. Love the way he keeps it in play off the tee. His swing looks a little but dude balls. I love it.
Yeah, I have Answer rated higher, but Keegan really plays this tournament well. I saw the best 4-iron hybrid I've ever seen in my life last year on 18 from Keegan. So I'll probably lean Keegan. But I think that's a toss-up. I think there's 2 good plays there. Luke List or JB Holmes? Gup? I'm kind of throwing a good course guy at you with a good, who I feel is a good player coming off a missed cut.
Yeah, I would probably lean JB's number 1 on my tournament history model.
Yep.
So yeah. I guess for that I would probably take him.
Bucks?
JB for sure. I mean, another guy like Varner that typically pretty inconsistent, but he's been really consistent over the last 8 events for the most part and loves this course. So I'm going JB.
I'll go Luke List. I think that he had a bad first round at the desert, just like Hadwin did the week before, and finished off with 2 good rounds. He just didn't get to play the third. He didn't make the cut. So I think Luke List is actually a decent play this week. If he can keep it. He's not a good putter, so maybe the Poa Greens will help him out. Last one I want to throw at you. Two interesting names, I think, Kyle Stanley or Adam Scott.
Oof,
I don't think Scott's ever played this tournament, what I found.
Oh, man.
But he does play Poa well in the past.
I'd go Scott for me personally, just for upside.
And Gup?
Who was the first one?
Kyle Stanley.
Yeah, and this will be this is kind of probably the first tournament that we see a few guys that may be playing a different schedule who haven't played this course before. I would go Stanley just from being familiar. He's a little bit higher in my model. They're both right there, and they're both top 35. But, Scott, I believe, has probably changed up his schedule some heading into the way the early year starts out and wanting to play this week. Just an assumption, but we may start seeing that as we go on in the future weeks.
Gup, we did have one question about players while we're discussing them. Mm-hmm. Alex Noren finished second here last year, obviously in the delay of game penalty on JB Holmes. What's your thoughts on Alex Noren this week? He's not going to be popping in models is what they're asking. And so what's your thoughts on him? But he didn't pop last year and he finished second.
Yeah, he's not terrible. At 8,600, he's 34th overall in my model, top 25 in stats. Rolling stats aren't as great. Obviously he's only played once. He got a second, so course history is okay. Hasn't played since the Hero over here. He's a guy that I'd probably have to go that I'll earmark to go see if he's played the Euro at all since then. But off the cusp, I could see him being in the pool at 8,600 where he's at in my model.
Awesome. And we did discuss Snedeker already. Bucks gave his thoughts on that. Did you want to add anything to Snedeker there, Gup?
Not really. He's not. He's 2 under Noren, so kind of fits the same deal for me. He obviously has played this course a lot.
Yep.
He's won it in 2016, so I could certainly see somebody playing him here, especially at the 8,400 mark.
Awesome. Let's get into the betting strategy for this week. This week is, like you said, it is a stacked field led by John Rahm, actually, at 10-1. And then you've got Finau, Day, Woods, McIlroy, and Rose all below 18-1. They're mixed between 12-1 and 14-1. Is there anybody you like below, let's say, 35-1, Gup?
Probably, when I pulled these earlier, Woodland was 28. I definitely
still
don't
28.
mind.
Yep.
If by Wednesday night I decide not to have any Ricky, to get him at 25 seems like a really good number for him, and that could be a strategy of mine just to do an outright and then don't play DFS. But it could be vice versa with him. Nobody's playing him in DFS, so I'll go that route. I don't really like. When you got Rahm and Rose and Rory and Tiger up there, even Finau, a lot of great talent up there that I'm not going to go too low. I'd rather just take some of these mid 40 to 70 type range. So, maybe Woodland. I still think that's a short number, a little bit too high of a number for him, but that's about it.
I believe that. Oh no, you got him at 40-1, right, at Phoenix last year.
Last year at Phoenix, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, and our Bucks. I think I know who you like, but why don't you tell me who you're liking there below 35-1?
Yeah, there's a couple guys I do like in this range, but you got to pick your spots. And the one guy I'm going to go with, and I'm not a big fan of this number, I just really, really, really like him this week, is Patrick Cantlay at 25. I personally think that Cantlay wins this week. He's going to be my OAD pick. So I'm throwing some money on Patrick at 25.
Yeah, I really like possibly Wooden. I haven't made a play yet in that range yet. Spieth at 33-1 is still too low, so I'm not touching that. But I really like Rahm again, but I'm not going to play at 10-1. So
yeah, nothing
there for me right now. All right, Gup, how about you said in the mid range? Who are you looking at in that mid range below 75? You say.
A lot of good plays here. Matsu's one that I mentioned earlier. I think he's probably already come down. I have him at 45.
Yep, he's down to 40.
That I think I heard, or I paid no attention to anything in social media today. Would he open at 60? Did I see that somewhere?
Yeah, mybookie.com or whatever, or bet my bookie is at 66. I don't get that number ever.
Griot's a guy I mentioned, definitely, could see him at 50. Horschel at 66. Horschel has strong probability to make my card. CT Pan will probably, he's right. He was at 75, so just staying under that 80 mark. I don't mind Pan either this week.
And you can get him at 80 actually now.
Yeah, okay, even better.
How about you, Bucks?
Two guys I like in this range. It's going to be M at 60 or I guess 50 or so. And then Griot as well. I do like Griot Gup, so I'm glad you mentioned him. But Griot and M are the two guys I like.
Yeah, I did place a bet earlier on M at 55. Pan, the funny story about Pan last year is, Gup, you had him, I remember, in a showdown. And I think you did well in the showdown, but he got an 8 on a par 3, and we were like watching it.
Yes.
And we were sitting there going, did he really just get an 8 on the par 3? But yeah, 55 for Sung Jae. CT Pan at 80. He's played well here before.
Yeah. Consistent, great off the tee. Like it.
All righty. How about let's go up to above that. Anything you like below that, Gup? I know I've got a couple, but what do you like in there?
Actually, JJ's pretty high in my model. I don't ever talk about him because I know you'll take care of that. But he's 7th in my model. So to get him at 90-1 is good value to me. I may go back to the Joaquin. I mean, I don't remember what he was last week, but now he's 110-1. When I pulled this, and so that seems like really good value to me. Probably under the radar type guy, not because he's young or anything, but Stuart Sink pops really well in my model, and I'm showing him at 150. I don't know if that's still where he's at, but some of those guys like that just seem to pop all over the place. I definitely don't mind taking a chance on them if they're high in my model and the values there, especially if you got a top heavy field. If for one of these guys to win, Stroman, even my sleeper, he's 200-1. So I definitely don't mind that. And I've been doing a lot. Some people have asked, but I've focused on trying to put the outrights out Tuesday now separately. And then I put my full credit out Wednesday, mainly because a lot of these lines are moving quicker and quicker as the industry continues to grow. I had some guys ask if I could do it Monday night. If I have time and I actually digest it, I'll put it out, but I'm not going to rush any plays or picks just to get it out Monday night. Hopefully they listen to the pod now with it being live and coming out afterwards. And if you like someone I was already potentially on, I'd go ahead and hit it and then see how my card comes out. But I will release them on Tuesdays.
Bucks, how about you, those later guys?
Yeah, just two that I'll mention. I do like Albertson this week. Anders Albertson, 160 or 150-1. And then a guy that got known last year to be like a tough course specialist is Sam Burns. He's 200 or so to 1, something like that. So throwing a little bag on him wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, two of my favorite players on tour right there. I didn't play Sam Burns yet, but I did play Albertson at 150. I did get JJ Spawn in at 100-1. He's still 100-1 on Bovada. So that's still available.
One tournament, Ruvy. One tournament he's going to hit.
He's got to hit.
You're going to quit.
I might quit. That might just happen. If he wins the tournament I'm at, I'm just letting you know, they're going to drag me off the green. I'm serious. I'm going to be out there with him partying. I promise. Okay. My buddy's good buddies with him. I need to get this hookup. Come on.
Well, that's all right.
Nick Watney at 150-1. He has won here before. I don't think it's the worst line for Nick Watney at 150-1. Gup, you said Sink. I have him at 150-1. Is that what you said you got him at?
Yeah, he's a potential dart for me.
Yeah, but that's what he's still at 150-1 right now. I don't see Harris English has a really good course history here at 100-1, but that's still too low for me to play Harris English. I don't have much else there. You guys got anything else you want to add to that?
Nope.
Awesome. I think that we have. Let's see if I don't think we have any more questions. If you're watching the show right now, please hit that like button. I see people are watching and they are hitting the like button. Let's get the one and done update. Reminder that the Emergency 9 real quick will be Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, gupscorner.com chat. That's been really good lately. it was excellent last weekend. We will get the Gups Corner chat script up as well a little bit earlier this week. We apologize for that. The standings right now between the three of us in the one and done. I took a lead because I had Hadwin, so I had 576,000.
Trash.
Up at 258 and Bucks at 372, so really close race still. The leader is at 1.6 million. About 12 people had Hadwin and Kuchar. No one had Long for some reason.
Crazy.
Hey.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my OAD this week is Cantlay.
Awesome. Gup, who is your OAD?
Justin Rose.
I'll go John Rahm. I don't want to. I guess I can't save him for the matchup.
Heavy. Love it.
All right. Just a reminder that our premium service will be having information out, but we're planning on February 4th as of right now. But Gup and Bucks also have a major announcement that they would like to pass along to you guys. So I'll just give it away to them. Whoever wants to take it, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I kind of teased it a little bit last night. We purchased, there's a charity event here in San Antonio with my real career, my job. And I was at the event and they had a package deal that as soon as I saw it, I shot the guys it and Bucks private messaged me and said, let's buy it for something Gups Corner. We'll figure it out. And we won it in the auction, and it's a 3-day, 2-night stay on property at Blue Jack National, which is Tiger Woods course up north of Houston here. Very exclusive, very private. Around here, some of the guys I know that have been on it said, it's kind of as close as far as, immaculate as Augusta could get for Houston per se, but really looking forward to it. But what we're going to do is everybody that purchases a season pass or annual pass for us, a $69 deal during the early bird sign up, which will start February 4th, you will automatically be entered into a drawing. Sunday night, we will go live after Augusta ends and do a recap show, talk about it, and then we will also announce who's the winner of that package to join Bucks and I. And we also got a special commitment last night from Moose from Fantasy National. He's the creator and founder of that. He is going to fly in and enjoy us, and he's also going to cover the guest travel accommodations. So Fantasy National is going to help out there and sponsor it. The package is all-inclusive. It covers everything. We get to play Saturday 18 holes, Sunday 18 holes. Friday night, we get access to the par 3, everything that's on there.
Under the lights, par 3.
It is under lights. Stays open till 1 a.m. I can't wait for the
Tito's.
Yeah. The Tito's cash game that'll happen there. So I told Moose to bring his wallet, but it's going to be exciting. It's a rare opportunity for us to go, and we definitely want to reward one of our loyal. And we feel if you're going to sign up early and be a part of it, that you're probably been a loyal person for a while. And the value on this thing is a lot of money. I'll just leave it at that. So, to pay $69 and be entered into it is a no-brainer. And we were kind of tossing around questions last night. If we happen to draw someone that doesn't want to do that because they, either don't play golf or whatever, we'll figure out something for them. And we'll continue contacting until we find someone. I would hope that someone would be, if they get drawn, that they'll be all about it. But I'll work out travel-wise. Since we're drawing it on April 14th, and the weekend's going to be the last weekend in April. So it's going to be a little bit of a tight window, 2 weeks to get everything booked and get them here. But we'll figure it out and get it all done. It'll be exciting. We'll keep promoting it and basically just kind of tell you guys to make all, if you're in it, if you buy an annual pass, make sure your weekend's clear in case you're the one that gets drawn. And we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great prize for someone, and get to spend, all weekend with us three and kind of pick our brains and see what the industry is all about.
I believe that's all we've got for tonight. We really appreciate everybody stopping by.
I do want to say one thing.
Okay, go. Sorry about that. Go ahead. So
I've had several people DM me and text message me. There was a weird deal with the @Gups Corner Twitter account that have no idea why it got suspended or blocked or whatever. It has something to do with ID. verifying age, and I've submitted my ID to them tonight. It should be unblocked tonight or in the morning. So I've had people thinking we block them. I don't know why it would tell people we block them, but that hasn't happened. I actually got
tweets are not loading. That's why.
Yeah. So it's fine. I've already talked to them. I sent them my ID as being the administrator, and JB, who you guys know, he's administrator. I mean, we all get on it, but it's obviously in my name. So I've sent them the documentation, and I think they'll release it here shortly. But if you happen to get on there, nothing's happened. It's not, no one turned us in or anything like that. It was, I guess, because it's just a secondary account. Maybe they didn't even have an ID for me. I have no idea. I've never had that happen to me on Twitter, but it'll be released tonight or by the morning.
Great. Thanks for that. I think that's all we've got. We wish everybody luck. We'll see you guys on Emergency 9 on Wednesday. If you have any questions, all of our DMs are open if you don't feel like you want to ask them out in public, or just tweet at anybody here, anybody in Gup's Corner, and we'll try to get those answered. Good luck this week, and we hope you guys all win all the money.
SmashFactor.